This is TWiT.
Google has said, and I think this scared me when they said it, that they are going to start deleting accounts that aren't active, kind of like
2 years.
Twitter said. But then so at first people go, not YouTube. What about all those great YouTube videos that were posted once and then nobody's still doing it? And then I know that our friend, the creator liaison at YouTube, Mr. Rene Ritchie, said, no, don't worry. We're not talking about YouTube. Oh, okay. Are you sure? I'm going to presume Rene has the insight.
Talking about Gmail.
But they will be Gmail. It will be, I don't care about Gmail. I care about the public square, and I'm more concerned about blogger sites. Because aren't there sites that have, been active for years that are still important historically?
Are they not on Internet Archive at this point?
Yeah, but we shouldn't have to rely on Internet Archive to preserve our history.
And it'd be dead links.
Yeah.
And Internet Archive is incomplete. So if only, but afraid not.
The Great Google Account Purge starts December 2023. It will slowly happen, but for instance, if you've been inactive for 2 years and you're already over that mark, your account's not going to be deleted immediately. Google says you'll get lots of warning. Don't worry about that. I can understand Gmail, that I guess.
But why should Google hold on to accounts that were created by mistake? Someone created an account and forget the password within an hour, so they go and create a new account.
Yeah, I understand that.
Or not to mention the bot accounts that were automatically generated.
And they say if you have an account, you want to keep it active, just sign in once every 2 years. That's not a lot.
That's not a lot, but that's enough to say, I'm here, the light's on.
Well, Stacey, you go ahead and defend it too.
Okay. The internet is not free. There are resources and energy devoted to all of this stuff.
Amen.
And if you're not using it, you should get rid of it. Now, the best way to do this is to provide the warning that Google says it's going to provide. So yay. 2, it should also, I think this would be an awesome time to either Google makes a big donation to like the Wayback Machine or the Internet Archive, or we actually talk about creating some sort of publicly funded or company funded infrastructure for things of value for the public
Library
square.
of Congress, right? Maybe that's what.
Yeah, I mean, our tweets are there, right? So we should
unfortunately.
But that's the thing. We think the internet is free, and it's cheap. It's way cheaper than paper, but it's not free. So, if you think about the environmental costs of saving all of this stuff on these servers, and even YouTube, y'all, I know that there's a billion, I don't know how many hours. They'll tell you how many, more hours than one person could ever watch. And I don't think it's wrong of them to get rid of it, especially if they try to do it in a responsible manner that's, lets you know.
I don't know how responsible it's going to be because the blog post said, quote, if a Google account has not been used or signed into for at least 2 years, we may delete the account and its contents, including content from Google Workspace, Gmail, Docs, Drive, Meet, Calendar, YouTube, and Google Photos. To which, of course, a lot of people who said there's, one of my favorite things is 5 years old on YouTube. There's a lot of tech TV stuff that somebody posted. They're long gone, but that stuff's there. I understand, Stacey, it's a shame that Google has to pay the freight to keep that up there, but that was kind of the deal they made.
Yeah.
In any event, Google then backed down. This is why I'm not sure I trust them, because then they said, oh, wait a minute. No, not YouTube. It says YouTube.
This is a dialogue. They also, in their thing when they originally posted it, they also said that it wasn't good, that it would be discretionary or they would look at things. So
what I saw is it mentioned something about videos having potential historical value, not just cat videos.
How are they going to judge? They're going to judge that.
But you know what? If you want your 5 years of tech TV, Leo, host it yourself and stick a link on the internet.
Well, let me try to argue now. May I?
Well, first of all, I don't have access to it. So that is, in fact, the only place that exists outside of NBC's vaults, and they won't let us access it. We tried very hard.
Oh.
So that is the only place that exists.
Well, NBC uses
be
their
a great
YouTube accounts, so It ain't going anywhere.
This is a good reason to
Do I
talk
get a
about
chance
changes
here?
in
It's not official NBC accounts. It's just somebody who VHS'd it and has put their VHS tape on YouTube.
And literally recorded their screen with the camera.
Or whatever.
Well, stuff. Yeah.
Can I argue
We've
now?
lost. Okay, yeah. Can I just make one final thing?
So give me more to argue with. That's fine. Yes.
We have lost billions of records over the last millennia. I mean, if we even just look at books that are out of print, and yeah, it's sad, so sad, but it's gone, and we keep making stuff. I'm not a sentimental person.
Nobody expects a publisher to keep a book in print.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's a very
so go on, Jeff.
hold on.
But one thing the publisher doesn't do is then burn the existing copies of the books. They don't make new ones.
That's what happens. That's why the internet's so cheap, y'all. I mean, this is what defines the internet. Go, Jeff.
Take who in our Discord says, how the hell is Elizabeth Holmes going to prevent her Gmail account from being deleted? She's going to go to jail for 15 years. What is she going to get when she comes back?
Someone to log in for her. They'll have incarceration packages.
Let me give you a few scenarios here. All right. One is include Twitter in this. Right. One is impersonation of a dead person. Right. Or someone who's
for instance, if Twitter kills my account, there's nothing to stop somebody else from being Leo Laporte on Twitter.
Exactly. So that's the first problem.
So log in every 2 years.
Well, you're dead. No. You're dead. You can't.
I can't. I'm dead.
Well, then you're dead. Then you don't get your name. What if there's another Leo Laporte out there?
Now.
Too bad. I'm Leo Laporte. I'm the one.
There is a whole linkage to a Leo Laporte that says that's a Leo Laporte. That's Leo Laporte we know. And Leo, may rest in peace, was a wonderful guy, sometimes grumpy, but we liked to read what he had to say.
Sometimes.
And now along comes Jason Calacanis acting like he's Leo Laporte, which is probably what happened. And so there's impersonation publicly. That's one. Two, there's a business problem. I'll use my father because he never had a Google account. So DV Jarvis, may he rest in peace, is gone now. Mm-hmm. Well, people know that because there's obits and stuff out there. And they know they can grab that email address that existed at Gmail, and then they can go around to banks and all kinds of places and say, oh, yeah, I'm DV Jarvis. Yeah, that's where the password recovery is at the account DV Jarvis at Gmail. Send it to DV Jarvis. Yeah. And you can recover all kinds of stuff from people who aren't going to know that they're dead or whatever. There's a business problem. And three is, you're right, Stacey, about the expense, but you have an obligation when you say we're going to be this repository of culture. Then you didn't make clear at the very beginning, well, but only for 2 years, and then it's gone. Then it's the problem of Google in general is what can you trust? Now, you're right that culture is not everything. Umberto Eco says that culture is what we choose not to forget. So I agree with that. But there was a compact that occurred in the early days of all of these platforms that said blogger. I mean, you're going to be there forever. WordPress, YouTube. And
I guess that's the real
Leo's
question.
Case,
is there an implicit promise of eternal representation on the net?
So
I don't think there is really. I mean,
there's not.
If you lose Tech TV, what do we lose as a culture if people do want it, but there's no way to save it?
That's too bad. Life moves on. I'm serious.
I love this.
And the other thing to note is, if you see what's happening right now, Google announced this, and already they're like, not YouTube. If that's the case, they're renegotiating the compact. Look at it like if you say we had an implicit agreement back when the web was young. To me, this feels like, yeah, I mean, you all do stupid things when you're young, and maybe you promise something like you'll tell your brother, like, man, if you ever need a kidney, I'll give it to you, man, because I love you. And then maybe your brother cheats on your wife or cheats with your wife.
Where is this going, Stacey?
No, I actually think Stacey's right.
You can't be held responsible.
I'm going to adjudicate
as
in your
life
favor.
Changes.
Yes, I'm going to adjudicate in your favor. And what happens in pre-internet world is if something is valued by the culture, like Shakespeare, the culture preserves it.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right, Stacey. Think of all of the things that we have lost. Now, would I have preferred that the Library of Alexandria did not get burned to the ground?
Yes. Yeah, we all probably would have. Yeah.
So,
who knows what we lost there?
Yeah. So I think what Jeff's saying is this is the Library of Alexandria, and Google's about to light the match.
then I don't.
The truth is, the Library of Alexandria is that every, I forget how many years, papyrus would have disintegrated. So you would have had to put the investment into rewriting things and copying the scrolls. Otherwise, they would have
so it's actually very analogous. That effort is analogous to the money that Google pays to keep the servers going.
This is mentioned maybe in the Gutenberg parentheses.
Is it?
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But one thing, though, that's kind of interesting lately, scientists, they've recovered a huge number of papyri from Pompeii after the eruption. You can't obviously unroll it. Scientists are using technology to scan these papyri and then using AI to reassemble the texts.
That was so Yale of him to use the plural of papyrus. I mean, we know this.
Papyri.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
What's the plural of Pompeii? So I thought that was kind of interesting. So you're right, Jeff. But I mean, there is a loss to the culture. Another example that's
gone is a shame.
Well, yeah, let's not use Tech TV because it isn't. Okay. But
I want to see my dev null.
I'll give you an example that's kind of related, which is video games.
Yeah.
These were artistic creations that, if can't really be played once the last N64 crumbles into dust.
Right.
And there is an effort to preserve these, sometimes an effort that is thwarted by the copyright holders of all things.
Yeah.
But I think we do want to preserve, even the fact that it's digital. If the Mona Lisa were a digital creation, we would want to have saved that, right? Just because it's oil doesn't make it somehow better than a digital creation, yes?
So I think there are two things this is a good this is like a good point in time to say, oh my God, the internet doesn't work quite like we thought, right? It's not this permanent record of infinite cheap access. So, and then also we have value. There's value in preserving this access that is protected under laws that really protected things that were physical and paper. So then two things we should take away. One, maybe we should create some sort of digital Library of Congress or funding for something that keeps
that
us
might
things
be the
in
right
the culture
answer.
that we.
Yeah.
And then two, what about our copyright laws? Let's say we want to put something in this library. Can we rework copyright? So
that's Google Books, right, Stacey? That's exactly the challenge that came with Google Books.
But that was physical books, but that's not video games, or that's not.
That's Bruce Cale is doing at the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
In fact, he's archiving those video games and creating emulators so that you can play them after the N64 is long gone. He did get in a little bit of trouble for that, didn't he? Of course, that was over lending those books, scanning books and lending them out.
You want to see an analog for this? If you go to ustc.ac.uk, this is the Universal Short Title Catalog. I'll repeat that, Leo. It's ustc.ac.uk. Andrew Pettigrew, who's a brilliant historian of books, established this, and it catalogs everything known that was printed, everything, whether it still exists or not, between Gutenberg and 1700. You search on something in the catalog. Right?
Wow.
And then if it exists in digital form, you can click on it and look at it. But even if it doesn't exist, the fact that it existed is interesting. And what Pettigrew says is that it's the things that we used most that we didn't value. It's the books that we didn't care about, that we left on the shelf, that nobody took out, that didn't get ruined. The things that we used every day and cared about and mattered in our lives got destroyed through use. So one of the weird things about this is the things that you can't find are the things that mattered most at the time.
And you have some standing because I know you're a professor of journalism, but really you're a historian at this point. And these original documents are the first draft of history. You need this stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fascinating stuff. And you also look through, one of the things I love doing this, and I recommend this in the Gutenberg parentheses, on sale soon, is that you look through and you see the progression of print, right? And in the 1400s, there were no indexes or title pages or page numbers and so on. And then you see it lost its color, it gained its standardization, the fonts changed. You see something that occurs. And there was little talk. Pettigrew also has a book out called The Library of Fragile History, where the aim wasn't to preserve. So what I want, Stacey, is just as we had ethicists before, I want librarians to be part of this discussion at Google.
Yeah, and I think librarians or museum curators, I mean, all of these, I've been to dozens of museum exhibits that are all digital. And so curators are already thinking about how to preserve things over time and as digital formats fail and protocols die, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I feel sad. I don't think this is Google's. It's totally right that Google said, oh, enough. I'm going to start deleting stuff.
It feels like
I think it's sad we'll lose stuff?
Ruth Porat got a hold of the bill for the server and said, well, wait a minute here.
But why would you trust a private it's a public company with your cultural assets?
Your stuff. I'm not sure about the infrastructure side of it, but what about accounts that are used just for forwarding emails? I saw someone in our Discord talking about it. They had an old Google account that they would dump stuff in it to forward to their personal email based on some type of filter. Does that still
Patrick Delahanty's dad, who was a federal prosecutor, I think he was Massachusetts. I don't know. Patrick, you'll have to fill me in, but he passed away a couple of years ago. Patrick says he's been keeping Maine U.S. Attorney. Thank you. He's been keeping his Gmail account alive for the last 2 years. That's historic.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not.
You're right. But it's also an email that a lot of people would want access to.
Right. The right thing
throw
to
that
do,
open.
The right thing to do would be to have some sort of, maybe Craig Newmark, instead of saving pigeons.
Pigeons of journalism. Gosh, man.
Could save.
This would be plenty expensive.
Yeah, no, but I think it's probably something a government should do. Libraries, it's amazing we have libraries. What a great contribution
they are magnificent.
To our public weal libraries have been.
Thanks, Ben Franklin.
Thank you to all those
and
state
Carnegie.
and local governments and federal governments who finance this and taxpayers, ultimately, who finance this.
Until Florida kills them, but yes.
Yeah, but we decided that this was something important. And that's, I think, what we need to extend the concept of library to digital goods, I guess. I mean, we already have a structure for that.
Well, we as Stacey would say, we need a discussion. We need a discussion about what's important to save and what the ethic of saving is. What does it say to future historians, to our children?
Well, and this is problematic because
the longest discussion ever, because no one's going to agree.
Yeah, if you were alive at the time of Shakespeare, would you say, oh no, that Christopher Marlowe, let's save all his stuff, but Shakespeare, he sucks.
And we don't know what we're missing.
We don't know.
That's the other thing.
We don't know what the good stuff is.
Well, interestingly, Leo, about that, so it's now the 400th anniversary of the first folio of Shakespeare. And what happened was there were a bunch of really crappy editions of Shakespeare. There's a really funny speeches that were in awful printings of it. And it was after he died, it was friends of his from the stage who said, we must preserve the true Shakespeare. And that's why they printed the first folio.
Interesting. So there was...
this too, in the Gutenberg parenthesis, on sale next month.
They curated it, basically. And
yes. Yeah, well,
But the point is
function too to fix the good stuff.
The point is, contemporaneously, people recognized his value, and that's probably why we have it today. But maybe there was also another guy.
Oh, there was
that wasn't recognized. That might
should have been.
Cervantes
wrote 40 plays. He considers himself first a playwright, and most of that is all lost.
We know him for Don Quixote, but
it's sold.
We don't know where his plays are.
Plays didn't. Right.
All like those Euripidean plays, the plays by Euripides.
Just ask Leo; he'll know how to say it.
I believe it's pronounced papyri.
But yeah, there's tons of stuff we've lost. Like all of there are no intact Sappho poems out there, but we're all like, yeah, she was amazing, great poet.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. We talk about Sappho all the time. None of her poems survive.
We do.
Well, I do.
There's fragments of them. Okay.
No, I had no idea that the poetry does not survive. Fragments of.
It's fragments and things that other people have reported.
Exactly. Her reputation is from the other people talking about it.
Let me quote, if I may, from the bad quarto of Hamlet, the speech you all know. God. To be or not to be, there's the point. No, to sleep, to dream. I marry, there it goes. For in that dream of death, when we awake and born before an everlasting judge, from whence no passenger ever returned, the undiscovered country,
that's
at
like,
whose sight the happy smile and the accursed dance.
That's like some guy who went to the play, and then somebody said, what did he say?
Trying to
said,
regurgitate
it was something like this.
To be or not to be. That's the point I'm trying to make.
That's the point. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Yeah. It's very different. And it doesn't even mean the same thing, which is hysterical.
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
That's the point.
Well, maybe the guy who was playing Hamlet that time, he forgot his
Maybe he didn't know his lines.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great conversation. And maybe I really think this is the kind of thing this Google announcement should stimulate, which is, okay, fine. You're right. It's not Google's job to maintain all this, but culturally we want to. What should we do? And I wish members of Congress would think about stuff like this.
They won't.
Yeah, they won't.
Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here. In case you hadn't heard, Home Theater Geeks is back. Each week, I bring you the latest audio-video news, tips and tricks to get the most out of your AV system, product reviews, and more. You can enjoy Home Theater Geeks only if you're a member of Club TWiT, which costs $7 a month, or you can subscribe to Home Theater Geeks by itself for only $2.99 a month. I hope you'll join me for a weekly dose of Home Theater Geekitude.